Hey YouTube, it's Lonnie again. Uh, haven't been on in a while. Want to get back into the swing of things, but felt like I didn't really have anything to say. I didn't really have anything to contribute to conversations that were happening. So I want to get back into the swing of things. I am reviewing. I found a notebook where I went over things I wanted to talk about on YouTube. So inspiration has been rekindled, and I wanted to start a new series, probably updated irregularly, called Stichin Witchin and Witchin. Let's get to it. Stitching. Stitching wise, I have been crocheting almost every day since November. Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, baby shower. I crocheted something for my entire side of the family. And then I did a couple of things for my husband's side of the family. I wanted to do more for them, but I didn't have it in me. And then I also had baby shower gifts to get ready for, his side of the family, and then a birthday gift for my father-in-law that I was pretty proud of. So I got burnt out on crochet, but I still wanted to play with yarn. So I dug through the stash and, felt inspired because I found this yarn. And not on this loom, but I got out my knitting looms. Now, I haven't used them in over 10 years. So I basically had to learn to do it all over again. I wasn't a total noob, but, I had to like watch several videos before I felt comfortable attempting things. As far as this set, these fingerless mitts and this hat, I didn't follow any specific pattern. And so I even had to, I don't think you can see, crochet around the bottom edge to stop the curling that you get on loom knitted projects. But you know that I started that at the end of last week, this loom knitting adventure. I even got a Afghan loom, which is a big, it's like this big, and it's like in an S shape. It's also called an S loom or an infinity loom, I think. And I'm waiting on my yarn that I want to make a blanket, because I haven't really made blankets for us. And I want a custom blanket for me, custom to the size I want. You know how throw blankets are. You pretty much have to choose between your shoulders and your toes. And I want something I can really wrap up in. I know cold weather is basically over for us now, even though we did have that freeze. But, I get cold in the air conditioning, so a blanket year round is useful for me. The next thing that I have been loom knitting and I'm obsessed with, I have several more lined up in different color combinations, are these cute little loom knitted kitties. I've made 3 of them so far. I call them my itty bitty pretty kitty committee. I'm surprised I got that out right the first try. This is the first one I did for my daughter. She picked out these colors. It's like a light teal and light pink. And, I called it gumdrop. Last night she told me a different name. I don't remember, so I will call it that. But for the purposes of our conversation, she's gumdrop. Then I was trying for calico because I used to have a calico cat named Sierra or Cece that I rescued. She passed about 2 years ago now. It broke my heart. But in her memory, I wanted to make a calico one. Well, this is what I tried. It's more tiger like to me, so I call him Joe Exotic. And then this one I just finished up yesterday, did a little more embellishing this morning. This is my Calico 2.0. And my Calico did not have two different colored eyes. That was some creative license. And I gave her a little blush. I know cats don't blush, but I thought it was cute. My daughter has named that one Kiki. So that's what I've been stitching. I will link the pattern to the cats in the description. So if you're interested, I believe a beginner could do this the way she breaks it down. I do think this channel has beginner videos for loom knitting, and you don't need anything more than the small round loom. It's 24 pegs, and you can get a set of round looms that come with like 3 or 4, different sizes. It won't break the bank. You do have to use a bulky yarn or like 2 strands of regular worsted weight yarn and some polyfill, maybe some yarn scraps for embellishment or some embroidery floss. And you can have your own itty bitty pretty kitty or pretty nitty committee. I didn't say it right. Well, now on to the witching. Spell wise, I've had a lot of success. I'm part of a coven, and for our spell experiment in December, in honor of Yule, we all got oil lamps if we didn't already have one, and made these Yule wish lamps, and we worked them throughout the month of December into early January, a little bit after Yule, or at least I did. And each week we'd make a different wish. And the first thing I wished for was just some good news, something good to happen. And I did get good news. And then also randomly that week, we got delivered pizza. Obviously, this was somebody else's order, that got delivered to us by mistake, but there wasn't anything we could do about it. And free pizza. So that was definitely something good that happened, no matter how minor it was. And, I've been doing various things, getting back on track with tarot for the year, diving into some new decks I got myself, got during the holiday season. Really breaking them down, working one at a time, working through the book, again, Ancestral Grimoire, I think by Nancy Hendrickson. We worked through it before, and I was kind of hit and miss with it because I've talked about this before, but, for 2023 and a significant portion of 2024, I had sustained an injury that left me bedbound. So I was real intermittent with working through the book. The rest of the coven, pretty much did the activities every month. You kind of work it on a monthly basis. There's space for daily work if you choose to do that, but, the assignments are kind of broken down monthly. Now it's time for the bitchin'. I had been writing this under the witchin', and it, goes with it. But, I've been taking some time to really thinking about using my magic for justice. And I have been doing some things. Uh, Many of you know, unless you know, just crawled out from under a rock, that the U.S., where I live, is a particularly dangerous and turbulent space right now. And lots of people need our support in all the ways in which we give it. You know, there's action that everybody can take. You can vote with your dollars through boycotts and reducing your spending with these big corporations. You can look up a list of companies that are, you know, supplying people whose politics don't line up with your own. Uh, you can also, I encourage you to take action where you can. And to listen to marginalized communities when they're telling you what is happening and what you can do to aid them. I saw something that said, you're not protected, you're just not targeted yet. And I think that's important to remember. I'm not comfortable getting into specifics here, but what I will say is I don't believe in cosmic justice. There's just us. You know, witchcraft is political, and it's been used by the oppressed to seek justice for themselves and for their community members since its inception. So, you know, there are people talking about that in spaces that I'm in, different communities. There's folks talking about it and sharing some of their work if they're comfortable on Bluesky. Very active on Bluesky. Uh, so, but there's something we can all do. If that's not your particular brand of magic, you have power and you have privilege in some areas that others do not. Use that power, and that includes your magic. You can petition for protection for protesters, resistors, uh, immigrant communities. You know, you choose how to wield your power, and you won't get any judgment from me on how you choose to wield it as long as you do something with it, as long as you don't give up. You know, I've started saying we must resist to persist. And that's where my notes in for today. So I'm glad I was able to make this video, pull myself together, pull the thoughts out of my head onto paper and then to visual and audio. And I thank you for watching. Do all the things they say in that call to action, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you.